We're on.
Okay, so it's another Monday morning. We've got we had a few things planned for the podcast, video cast, couch cast, whatever this is. I don't know. But Shah Hussain was in this morning, and we're fresh off a weekend of fights and all craziness. And Shah's in for training this morning, so we grab him, stick him on the couch, hear what he's got to say. So welcome, Shah.
Thank you, Dave.
You had a good training session?
Yeah, good getting punched again.
And how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Dave. Yeah. Same old, just grinding through work, family, training, fighting.
Work, family, training, fighting. So, which leads me to the first question. As always, the first question I throw, or kind of the first question, whether it gets answered or not, I don't know, right? As you alluded to earlier. But when and why, maybe not when, we don't want to tell everyone how old you are or anything.
I'm not. I mean, it's a bit apparent how old I am.
But when and where did you start, and why did you start? So when, where, and why did the martial arts sort of, how did you embark on it?
Okay, I was working up in Dunstable. I was living up there for about 6 months back in 2004. And I'd just come out of university as well. So just graduated, needed a job, started working there. And yeah. And I was training at a Fitness First over there, and there were some guys from Brazilian top team who were training down there. I didn't know their names or nothing. They just had just one of the squash courts there. One of the main badminton courts. That's what they had, with some mats down. So they used to train there. I was just watching. I was coming up towards the end of my contract in Dunstable where I was working. So that gave me the idea in my head. That's when I first came across Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Did you know who? Do you know who they are?
I didn't know. I used to just watch them. I used to go lift weights because that's what I was into then. And after I used to finish, I used to just watch these guys train. And the thing what drew me to it was small guys fighting against massive guys, you know. And I thought I could see just guys just getting twisted up, right, as in big guys. So that's when I first saw Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So then I moved back home, and then I think I saw something advertised online or something. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. It was some crappy little website, and Icon's one. It was Icon's first website. It was just like a holding page.
Oh, so it was Icon?
No, it wasn't Icon. It was Zé Marcelo Brazilian top team.
Yeah.
Zé Marcelo Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And so I went down to Montham Sports Centre, which is where the squash courts were.
I was going to say, because we was talking about this the other day, because it's only really, I think, 6-7 years, maybe. 6-7 years? No, must be more. Must be more now. Maybe nearly, I think 2010, so 8 years.
Yeah.
2010 is when the Icon was set.
That's right.
Right, we're going to call this Icon now.
Icon, yeah. So in 2004, yeah, right.
You have the original, the original rash guard.
That's right. Yeah, I've still got that one. Yeah, I've still got that one. No. That was one which Zay bought back from Portugal, and I bought it right in 2004. Right. It had the surf thing on it. Yeah. Right. You guys were blue belts. You, Dr. John, Manj, Chin, Big Sanj, all blue belts. And
those were the days, man.
But what I remember about that was you guys being blue belts, and the classes were like £12 a class, right? And all I remember was I bought a gi, an Atama gi of Zay. I paid about £90 for it back then. Feels like cardboard now though, all right? And I used to,
but you still got it.
I've still got it. Still got it. Yeah. And I used to wear it with my white belt, and used to be at the cash machine withdrawing a tenner because I used to have £2 change on me for the class.
Whoa. Can we just hang on?
Yeah. I know. The golden rule.
Hang on a minute. Whoa.
Yeah.
Where was this cash machine?
Near my area.
Oh no. Whoa. So the cash machine is out and about.
Yeah.
And you're in your kimono.
I'm in my kimono, yeah.
Looking like a nutcase.
That's right.
They always say the jiu-jitsu is good for self-defense.
Right.
And I always say it's very good for self-defense because if you're out and about and you're wearing your kimono, you're wearing your gi.
That's right.
No one's going to start on you because you look like a nutcase.
That's it.
Don't wear the gi.
Yeah, but
Just for cleanliness rule.
no, it was obviously the white belt thing, right? So and £12 I used to pay for the classes back then, and there was only a handful of guys on the mats there. Like I said, you guys. I think Danny Batten used to train there then. A guy called.
So but that back then, that's when Zay didn't live here.
Nah.
So Zay was commuting here from.
Him and Zangino used to come over.
Yeah. So Zangino, I forget when. Zangino's come here and started to, I think, live here when I was a blue belt. Yeah, definitely he was a blue belt. Yeah, definitely. So Zay hadn't committed to come here yet. He was testing the waters out with Zangino, I guess.
Yeah. Right. And then, so I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu then. I was off and on in the gi. It was more so I was in and out of work, and it was a bit expensive, like just doing the classes back then. So I was.
Had you fought by then, MMA or anything?
Nah, nothing. I hadn't fought MMA. This is just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So no wrestling before that?
No. I tell a lie. I did some boxing when I was... No martial... I mean, do you classify boxing as a martial art?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So boxing, I boxed at Pinewood Boxing Club, Boys Club, when I was 14 to 16, 2 years. But I never boxed because I failed my medical before my... I used to have jam jars as glasses, man. I
know. I've seen some pictures of you when you were younger. You've definitely blossomed.
Is that in my house?
You're like a bottle of wine, my friend.
No. Right. Yeah. So... so I hadn't really done no competitive martial arts or anything, just training. And then literally I saw, I don't know where I picked up one of your flyers from, right? I realised you were doing MMA classes there in the squash courts as well, in Slough. You started off, right?
Yeah.
I've seen, I think it's on one of your first banners, your logo, which is where it's like one of your first logos.
Oh, this one?
That one, yeah, that one. David Lee, mixed martial arts.
Yeah, so I pulled that off of the UFC video.
Okay.
You know when you do the shadow box.
Yeah.
I pulled that off of there.
Right.
One of my many first logos.
Yeah. And I've still got a couple of those flyers at home.
I remember those flyers, yeah. Yeah, because what happened, the reason why that would happen is because I think I said it when we was talking with Martin, so basically with you, with Shah, I kind of started the team in the South Oxy area teaching the MMA.
That's right.
But then I would also, at the same time I was teaching there, I was teaching over in Slough, like with you guys, so Martin and, before Martin.
This is the squash court.
So what would happen at the squash court is they wanted me to do the jiu-jitsu class on the grappling or turn it was in the time where what's his name? Andy, the Sledge, and Dan, the Canadian, were getting everyone together to do some grappling on SFUK, and then said, "Oh, you want to do the?" And I didn't really want to, because there's no one commanding the class, so running the practice. So I didn't want to do that. That was my training. You know, I just wanted to train, and so we would keep that. And I think when like Ronaldo and Eduardo got involved, it would go Thursday and Sunday. Yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
Thursday and Sunday, and then what I was doing at that time, I was getting together in the the shed in my house in the back garden on a Monday night.
Right.
It would be like, because we had Monday and a Wednesday at this Rayners Lane martial art academy under the chicken shop. So I did Monday at mine, and we did Wednesday there, and then we would go Sunday to Monton. And then what happened is there was too many people for the shed.
Right.
The 20-foot shed.
Wow. Yeah.
Tiny. We're busting the walls out, you know what I mean? So then I thought, right, we was there on a Sunday, so I'll inquire how much it costs to rent the squash court. And we'll do a Monday night, instead of doing it at my house, we'll do it in Slough.
In Slough, yeah.
And that's how that started. So,
okay.
You know, because just by, I wonder how much this is to rent. So that's how we.
Yeah, that's it.
Started a Monday night there.
Monday night there, yeah. So I was only doing that and jiu-jitsu one day a week as well. Yeah. And then I got myself another job, which meant those times I couldn't really make training. So then I started training with it's a friend of mine who I met on the door doing security. His name was Nozad Khan. He was from Germany. He was a Thai boxer. Yeah. And he said he did a bit of MMA, right? And he said, look, pop down, do some training in the back of his garage. We're starting training there, and he surprised me with some of his submission stuff which he was showing me, but I didn't know that he was being taught by a guy called Mark Chen.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so No, no, no.
Are they still there?
No. He was. He used to train at the back of this friend of mine's
Yeah, but
gym.
where did Mark train? You know.
Mark was. I think he was a lecturer at Thames Valley
Yeah,
University.
Yeah, that's right,
yeah. I think he was.
PhD there, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he used Thai or Oriental or was he mixed race, black, glasses, small guy.
No, he's black guy.
That's
Black
it.
guy.
Yeah.
Mark was like one of the pioneers. So what happened with him is they had the I think they call it hybrid fight team.
Right.
And what happened when I started teaching Slough and the Wednesday night at the Rainers Lane place was cooking. So as I left that place to sort of start the ball rolling with my sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it just happened that I could only get this other place on a Wednesday to teach. So
Okay.
I'll go there and do that, and I'll forego the training at the Rainers Lane place because I trained with the guy that started it there was a guy called Steve Dempsey.
Right.
And Steve was like, it's kind of weird because I see all the guys that I used to train with and started with or learnt from, and some of these guys are just born in the wrong generation.
Yeah.
Because they would flourish now. They would, they're the guys doing pushing.
Yeah.
And start. They all laid the first bit of concrete.
Right. Yeah.
Because if it weren't for them just doing a class here and there as a little bit of an interest, none of us would be here today.
Wow.
With the sport that we know and love, and now it is now, right? So I started there, and as he started to kind of move away, because he was getting, it was embarking on his work, and he had a job. He didn't, he wasn't making money out of what we were doing. He was just, paying the rent for the place, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't make money back then.
Nah.
You do it for love.
That's it.
And because it was taking, the balance of his life and the classes and that were a struggle, not a struggle, but I got to make a decision here.
Yeah.
So he pulled away from teaching there, and I think at that time, that's what, because Mark used to train with him, and Mark sort of went, well, I'll take it over.
Okay.
And then they formed the whole hybrid team, and the guys that would come out of that would be a bunch of guys that would then turn to me, because what happened when Mark was doing it, he was doing it on the side, and he was juggling home life and his PhD and everything.
Yeah.
And then when he left there, and the guys that would come from there would be Denniston, Luke Dalmedo, Denniston Sutherland, Luke Dalmedo, Big Danny Thomas would come there, Hayden was training there, Hayden Kitfield, and another big talk. I remember Jamie. Those guys would move to me because I think Mark was saying, "Well, listen, I'm just going to stop. But the only other guy nearest to you guys now is Dave. Got to train with them."
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of stuff. So if you was training with Mark,
Mark. Yeah, he was basically doing like one-to-ones with Nozad at his place, right? So
again, Mark, he fought a bunch of guys. He was fighting at that time. He was fighting then, back on. Where was it? In Essex, was the Circus Tavern. I'm sure he was fighting there.
I think it was.
Back then, because Lee Johnston was the guy doing those shows.
Right.
And I think back then they didn't. It was like there was one cage around, and they was doing it in a ring.
Right.
Sure, he had a ring there.
Okay.
So he was probably one of those guys fighting there.
Yeah. So so I was learning from him. And that guy was learning from Mark Chen.
Yeah.
And then that carried on for like 6 to 8 months. And then after that, I thought, right, I want to fight. So there was a friend of mine in Luton who got me a fight on Intense Fighting Caged, which is
Intense
Fighting.
Who won that?
Caged. It was run by some guys in Peterborough. I can't remember their names, on top of my head. But all I know is that you had like Brad Pickett, John Maguire, all these guys were on that show, all right? And it was.
I don't even remember that. So it couldn't have like. How many did they do?
I think they've done a few, 2 or 3, and then they turned it into like a Cage Rage Contenders after that, because a lot of the regional shows started going under the Contenders banner, didn't they? So I had my first fight there. I turned up. My opponent didn't turn. My opponent would have been a guy called Christian Mpumbu, who was actually, his name was Christian Mpumbu. He was actually the Bellator light heavyweight champion, right, later on in life, right? So he would have been my first ever fight. But he didn't turn up, so one of his French buddies was there at the time, and he jumped in. So I was an overweight middleweight, and he was a light heavy, and they just threw us in there, and we just fought, and I lost by armbar. And then after that, I thought, you know what, I've got to train with different people. And then by then, you had moved, and so did Zay. You had moved to Unity Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I got back in contact with you, and you said, well, I'm teaching from here now. So that's where I carried on my training.
Yeah. So you pretty much you dabbled a bit with the you dabbled a little bit in Slough,
Yeah.
in Monson, and then you moved over to
Unity.
So you really kind of, like as Martin alluded to, the first guy that I saw at Unity was Shah Hussain.
Was it?
And he fought by them.
did he say it with that tone of voice and that enthusiasm?
You can check the video. It's our last video. No, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
He said
no, you must have said that, but was it with that passion?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The first guy I saw to shake my hand was Shah No Pain Hussain, and I looked up to him because he was fighting.
That's nice.
And he was a local, like, well, I don't know if you, no, you probably hadn't got to the local legendary status.
No, I'm not legendary.
But you was almost there.
Not then,
So
I wasn't.
so when was
that? November 2006.
This was the landscape back then. People would take fights before you'd even done enough training.
Yeah, yeah. I you know, tell a lie. What it was I was out. I split up with my missus, right, and I went off to Thailand to train, right. So I went out there for like 6 weeks to Tiger Muay Thai, and then it was while I was out there I got offered my second fight, and then I took that on. But that was just before I'd started training back with yourself and Zay again. But yeah, so I was, you know, there was no real management. It was just a case of just whatever shows were going on then. Whoever could get you a fight could get you a fight, and I got paid 150 quid for my first fight, and I was thrown in against a light heavyweight. So.
But that's the thing back then. It was very much, there was no, the blueprint wasn't out, was it?
That's right, yeah.
You know, the mistakes, well, they weren't mistakes, were they? They were just, you didn't know you didn't know necessarily you were making a mistake.
Yeah, that's right.
You just had to, well, we did this, I mean, because I remember fighting maybe after, I did karate and judo as a kid, you know what I mean? And I think after maybe 2 years, not even, say maybe 2 years is when I first sort of fought, but I did a couple of like amateurs on the mat before that, so it was just a case of, there's a comp coming up, you want to do it? Oh yeah, I'll do it. Or there's a fight coming, you want to get a fight on? Oh yeah, I'll do it. And now we kind of have, I mean, these kind of things like you, even like me and you, were making the blueprint, right?
Yeah.
So now when guys come in to train, it's not like, I want to fight in a week. Oh, okay. Listen, you're not making your own fights. You're going to train. You're not going to say, I want to fight. Yeah. You're going to say, I want to train.
That's right.
And then the fight will come. If your training partners, your coach, refer you to say, listen, I think you've got a talent. You should maybe think about fighting. What do you think? Don't start day one. I just tell people out there now that when you see the MMA on the TV or whatever, you see the guys fighting, and you think you might want to do that. That's great. Then go to the gym, have a look around, train. You might have in your mind that you want to fight. That's cool. Keep that to yourself, and then just ask the questions. Oh, what do people have got to do to maybe go down the fight route? Blah, blah, blah. Don't come in and go, I want to be a fighter.
Yeah.
Because that's the wrong. Because there's a lot of I think you were the one who reiterated the slogan to me. You need to enjoy the process. Because even if you fought every month, you need to train more than you fight. Because the fight's 15 minutes.
That's right. Yeah.
You got to train, right?
That's right.
So you were one of the guys making the blueprint for everybody else. I think that's why a lot of people like you was at a show at the weekend. And one of our guys, Martin, because he's a bit of a comedian, or wannabe comedian, making fun, like, not making fun, but Shah's a local celebrity. But in your community, around where you are? Yeah, because you were one of the first like Pakistani guys to fight, right?
Yeah, from what I got told is about 3 years ago when I was out in Pakistan. In all honesty, Dave, you know what? With me, it's just happened to be at the right place at the right time. You know, it was nothing planned with this. It's just if you are what you are, and then whatever else comes around you, and then if people see that people pointing it out to you, and you don't realise, because all I was doing ever was just turning up on just training Slough on a Saturday and Monday. And turn up in the daytimes and just training, just doing learning my trade.
You were one of the guys making the blueprint.
Yeah.
You know, so you didn't have any concept of. Yeah, maybe you thought I want to be a fighter, but it wasn't in the sense of I want to be on a cover of a magazine. I want to be famous. It wasn't that. You were just testing your skill and making the blueprint for people. You wasn't even aware of making a blueprint.
No, it was more It was more looking up to like my senior, yeah, that's it. My senior guys like yourself, Denniston, you know, who was up there fighting, and some of the black belts at Icon Jiu-Jitsu. You know, it was just looking up to you guys.
On the job.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it ever was.
So we go to that then. You've travelled the world. Yeah.
I've travelled around. Yeah.
Travelled the world fighting.
Yeah, I fought abroad.
And how have those experiences been?
They've been good. You know.
So going back to the blueprint, you were probably the first Pakistani fighter from sort of a British origin to then go to Pakistan and fight. No?
Yeah, it was the first Pakistani pro out there fighting and fighting regularly. I think that's what it was. That's what I was told, and then it just kind of just took off from there. You know. People, you know, keep messaging, and they were, Facebook just grew, and whatever else around it, and it was just a case of just carry on training, fighting, and we went out there, a few of us, and went out there to promote the sport of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That was a separate project, which I was a part of. I mean, BJJ is not my first thing, my first love. It's MMA, but you know, the whole thing of like going out there and trying to create grassroots in that country. It was a good experience, and with that, obviously, you get more recognition when you're out there, and it was nice, you know. It was nice.
Are you still involved in that, or
it's kind of died down now. I think all the teams eventually, once they get a grasp of what's happening out there, you know, there's more money involved, meaning more sponsorship. So. Especially in the likes of Pakistan, where what they can do out there is they can fly around the corner to Thailand, and they've got world-class training there.
You helped push it out there. And
help push.
You went out there, showed it a little bit.
Right at the start, yeah. There was another guy out there.
Pushed the snowball down the mountain, so to speak. And let it go and do its thing. That's cool, though, that you.
Yeah, and I kept it kind of open policy. You know, I'm very welcoming. Anyone wants to ask me anything. None of this celebrity bullshit. Like, you know, I always try to shy away from that. I don't try to like give that out as a first thing. It was always, you know, this is what I am. I always humble myself wherever I can. You know, I'm not. All I do is turn up. I work. I train. I fight when I can. And I do it.
You fight anyone? I mean, you took fights that I've just thought, oh, guys, don't care. You never really thought about, like, so to speak, I'm trying to, you never massaged your career.
Nah,
so
you're
to
right.
Speak. You, fight come in, I mean, fight, you know, I've never really known you to not, like, even to turn down a fight. You've always sort of just went, I got this fight, and I'm like, okay. Like, you know, because you've probably had a couple of managers here and there, right?
Yeah, I've had a couple of guys who've kind of managed.
For the first part, we were just figuring it out ourselves.
Yeah, we were just fighting, do whatever came up.
Fight, Dave got fight. And back then it was, we were figuring it out. Like, it's like
we'd get text messages come through, and it's like, oh, so and so, we've got to fight, and we'd be like, right, we want to fight him.
That's how it was.
That's how it was.
We were trying to figure out this management thing because we were managing ourselves, sort of thing.
That's right.
Either I was managing myself, and you were managing yourself, or Dave, I got this fight, and we're bouncing back to each other, and then because it's easier for someone else to arrange it for you.
Yeah.
And you can just concentrate on the fight. So yeah, again, just making the blueprint, right?
That's it.
So how many fights have you had now? Or when? So your first fight was when?
November 2006.
2006, and you're still competing now.
I'm still competing now. Yeah, I've not got long left now.
So how many fights have you had now?
11-13 and 1 no contest. That's 25.
So you see already there, that's the way you're gonna.
Yeah.
If you were worried about or concerned about your status as a competitor, as a fighter, as an athlete, I've had 50 fights. You know exactly your fight.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same as me. How many fights you had? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
You've never been one to be concerned. With the whole status. It's just an extension of the training.
That's it.
Just go compete.
It's just carried on. It's carried on from, like I said, we went back again. We went to Unity Martial Arts and daytime training with Jason, yourself, Max. I remember Mishek used to turn up. Carlos Vermola used to turn up a few times during the daytime. And we used to get a bunch of guys used to turn up, big lumps, and those were the days, man. That's where it all kind of started. For me, it was like serious because I was only working in the evenings then, and then it just kind of went on, and then obviously as we get older, right, and grey, responsibilities come about, and I've always had a job, and I started this sport just to do it for self-defense and just pick up some skills, and it just kind of went on from there. There was no everything like I'm going to have a career. I see people around me now, like for example, say Charlie and Sam and these guys, yourself as well, who've pretty much done this. Yourself also, who've done it like full time from day one. You've built it from scratch and you've kind of went on with it. With myself, my circumstances were different. It was in my house growing up. It was education. Get a job, you get married, and it was a sequence thing. It comes from the culture more than anything, and it was never. I could never really do whatever I wanted. It was always you had to do this, you had to do it this way. So I did it that way, and for the good part of last sort of 10, 12 years, I've just been working, in a regular job in the private security industry and 12-hour shifts, and when I train. And I fit my training and my training schedules around them. There's sacrifices, say for example, for you guys who've done it full time from day one, and it's paying off. This is
maybe, but I always used to say that. It's hard to do it full time. I said, it's hard to fight and be in a fight game full time. Of course, it's hard on your body, hard on your life as an athlete, but it's still early days even now. For the guys, I mean, it's possible now. I can sit there and go, it's possible you can have a career in this. But really, the wages and stuff like this for the fighters still haven't really been pushed up that much. I mean, I still think it's still in its infancy here. There's a little drops of opportunity coming, and for me, myself, and yourself, the opportunities you're trying to create by doing what you're doing is trickling down for the new guys. You're creating opportunity for it's like for example, like when the 4-minute mile couldn't be done, and one dude done it, and then all of a sudden in that same year or within a short space of time, it's never been done before, and then someone does it, boom, I can do that. If he's done it, I'll do it. So now, like for yourself, first Pakistani guy. Now there's a whole show going on just for in that sort of culture. You're bringing, it's fights. One of the biggest shows in the world. Brave are going to embark on a big show in Pakistan now.
Yeah, that's right.
So, as much as you're like, I'm humble and all that. Sometimes you need to just go. You know what? As much, and you will never see any dividends from that.
Right.
Yeah. You're never going to get. We send a box of roses or, a car around the Shah for helping it smooth the way.
No.
But like you can sit back and with a sense of pride.
Yeah.
I had a part in that. I put a little brick in the wall and made a part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I thought that was Charlie trying to sit underneath. Right? But you know what I mean. So you've, as much as you like, I did. I've just done a bit of training. And it's hard to work 12 hours a day and then get to class, get to training, and then on top of that, prepare for fights. You know what I mean?
Not throwing
You're living
in
a
the
double
equation.
life. It's like you're a double
Yeah.
agent because you go back home.
Double agent, is it?
Agent.
Okay. Okay. No, I heard agent. Yeah. I thought, okay.
See, this is exciting.
Okay.
I said agent.
Okay, that's fine. That's
I'm
fine.
pretty sure I have to rewind it back.
No,
Yeah. Agent.
Agent. Okay.
Might be my accent.
Accent. Yeah, yeah. All right.
Double agent. I mean, fair. All right, you could be a double agent. Yeah. Because at home, you know, you've got a graft. You know, they want you to be a doctor.
Right.
And now you're out fighting. You're trying to justify it.
Yeah.
And just play it down with them, you know, and then play it up at the fighting and try and juggle the two different worlds, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's harder.
Yeah, it is. I mean, as time's gone on, it's got even more difficult because Mrs. has come along, then the kids have come along, and the responsibilities have doubled, and throw in work and whatever. But you know, I can sit here and say, oh, it's so hard working and training and fighting.
It's still it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, okay, that's it, because it's keeping me busy, right?
Keeping you busy.
Yeah, and
keeping you healthy.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And you know what what I look at now is, you know, I've done all the, you know, running around. I've being there with all the guys, and you know the whole staying in the hotels and the corner. And I miss it. I still.
As much as you miss it,
I miss it.
Listen, you might miss it, yeah. You might miss all that, but I distinctly remember. And this is another video podcast. Whatever we're going to do, I've alluded to the same thing when we did with Martin. We're going to get a few of us on the couch.
Yeah.
So Charlie Leary just trying to sneak through here. Yeah. I don't know why you probably got a reflection there, you in there, making a cameo. So anyway, what was I saying? As much, another podcast. We're going to get a few of us in.
Yeah.
To go over like the stories of those times. Yeah. So as much as you miss those days, I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't miss one room and like four dudes in the room. I'm sure you don't miss any of that. I'm sure if you were to go back and do this, you'd go, yeah, maybe I don't miss it that much. You know
but I'll tell you what is nice now is being able to just, whenever the guys are fighting, is just say, yo, who's fighting? Have a look on the board. Okay, so and so's fighting. Right, you got a ticket? Yeah, and they're like, yeah, okay, and you just grab a couple of tickets of them. You know, me and Slick will just jump in, and if anyone needs a lift down, yeah, okay, let's go, and we'll go sit there.
It's handy to have a lot of people.
Yeah, of course, and you sit back and you know watch the fights and watch the boys compete now. You know, it's nice that, and I'm still involved in the sport. I'm still going to be supporting all my teammates.
Now you're a commentator.
No, I'm trying.
Done a few shows now.
I'm trying to commentate. I've done a few shows. I'm trying to learn in that part of things. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still picking it up and whatever. But it's all experience. It's still being involved. It's still being relevant, isn't it?
So hang on.
Yeah.
So you're the first Pakistani fighter.
Right. Okay, yes.
I mean, are you the first Pakistani commentator?
I'm not sure about that, and I'm not, and I really don't care. I really don't care, man.
You're just a history maker.
No, I'm not.
History maker.
No, I'm just leaving it in God's hands, and whichever way He takes it, right, He takes me. That's it, simple. But it's great though, you know what?
History every day.
No, but it's good fun, and you get to stay busy and stay active, and that's what I like about it. And and I still love training. I mean, it's a shame I can't get down at Watford as much now, but it's a great facility, and honestly I love it whenever I do come, because I'm not here all the time, but whenever I do come here, I get made to feel so welcome.
Well, you're part of the team, man.
You're
of course. On the wall. You're on the wall, right?
In the wall of.
Well, everyone's questions this picture here. You fought Dean Emmersinger, yeah?
Which one's that? Sorry.
You see the picture right there. So you're there, right there, right.
Okay, yeah.
What was going through your mind there? Why did I get their hands? Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, there was always two sort of divisions for us. There was like South Foxy, Watford kind of way, and then there was the Slough, and you was one of the boys to, pioneer the MMA in Slough and around that area. And really, you helping and developing as a team as we all were. Like people like Martin now teaching over in High Wycombe. You've paved the way for that to happen in a certain roundabout way, you know what I mean?
In a roundabout way, yeah. That's
even though, like you said, you have helped and create this team that have now, it's for sure.
Yeah.
Because you were fighting when we, you know, in the beginning, when we was trying to figure out what to call the team, and okay, like you say, it all kind of just happened. But there's a bunch of us fighting. We should call this a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
yeah.
we should become a team. We're training together. Let's just. You know what I mean, and you was flying the flag for, you know, Team CrossFace back in the day when it was, you know, in its infancy.
Yeah.
And here we are. I think we're maybe 9, 10 years on, maybe. Possibly more. I forget. But, you know, and we're still growing. And the reason we're growing is because of, you know, the fights that you've done and the places you've been. And you're one of those guys. I mean, that's why I wanted to get you here.
Yeah.
You're in training. Boom, let's get you on the couch. You know, you know, I've got a bunch of people that I want to interview and have a conversation with, but I've got a bunch that need to go first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And you're one of those guys.
Yeah, that's nice. It's great. You know, training here is great. The guys are great. It's a great attitude. What I've realised is, you know, these. I mean, I've trained a few places, right, especially abroad and whatnot. And what I've realised is, you know, there's legitimate martial artists, you know, in this gym, you know, and they know the real deal guys. They know the guys who've grafted, who've put the time and the effort in. And you know, sometimes we all need guidance. You know, I need guidance myself, and you know, it's great to be able to, like, you know, speak to yourself, get guidance from you, even speak to my teammates. You know, everyone's here to help each other, and it's awesome. It really is. I mean, like I said, you know, I can't get down here as much now, but whenever I do come here, you know, the guys are still cool. You know, they all know. You know, they got that respect, and that's what I really admire about the people here. And it's great to be here.
Well,
you know,
you are one of the guys that for me, from me looking, is you are one of the martial artists. You are one of the dudes that have started off. You're competing, you're fighting, you're training, and all this, but you're still training. You're still doing it. You're still.
Yeah.
It wasn't about. I just want to be a fighter.
No.
You know, because you're still training, and I think you'll be one of the guys that will, you know, even if it's once a week, twice a week, when you got this going on, you'll still be training.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, that's what it's about. Really,
That's
the
it.
Fighting is just like a little cherry on the top of the foundation of like loving to train.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of inspiration for you, from me as well. Like, Thursday gone. I mean, just finished jiu-jitsu. Obviously, really tired. Finished from there, and then I look in the corner and I see Chin smashing a bag. Right. Yes, right.
God, to get him on.
All right. I looked up and I had to look up again.
Well, Chin isn't even his real name, yeah. That's not even his real name, but we'll call him Chin Wirra Singh because that's what the Wirra Singh whip.
Okay. Well, he was whipping that leg around that bag, really good, I tell you. And I did ask him. I said, "Oh, can I video this?" Right. He started laughing. Right.
Well, he's married now. Maybe he's got some blood.
But the point being is, you know, you say you're still training, you're still competing, you're still doing your thing.
He fought on Cage Rage 5.
That's it, exactly.
I did.
Yeah. So Chin is a legend.
Living legend.
Right, that's it. And then, but to see him, like, you know, just decide to, like, he's a BJJ black belt, to get the gloves on and start whacking the bag. You know, it was like, wow. You know, look, Chin's still. You know, he's still got that fire for it, you know, and it's all inspirational stuff, you know. It's great to
see. The beauty of the martial arts.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right, cool. Well, let's call it. Now it's quieting down in the gym. It feels a bit weird talking to you now. So I will say thank you, because I know Shah's a busy man. He hasn't got loads of time, we'll keep him short. I'm trying to keep the conversation short. So we'll definitely get Shah back in, especially with the, especially for the. We'll call it something else. We'll call it the CrossFace travel diaries or something, because there are some funny stories, and Shah has been involved in many of them.
Oh, good.
Many of them, from our trips to Thailand.
Yeah.
No, we won't. Well, no, we'll be all right. It won't, but only the stuff that needs to be on. We won't do any of the other stuff that shouldn't be going on, that we don't want no one knowing about. Come on, but you know, it's really funny stories. Funny stories. You know, like. From trips to Thailand to saunas catching on fire, and all sorts. Funny fight stories, man. There's some good stories, and you've been involved in many of them. So we'll get you back in for those.
No, I look forward to it.
And thanks for having a chat.
No, thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon.